Hello everyone. So in this video, we'll be discussing a concept or technique that is called recursion. Okay, so as you can see on the screen, it says recursion in Java. Okay, so recursion basically comes from the English word of recur. Okay, and recur basically means either to repeat, okay, or you can say to happen again and again. Okay, so basically recursion means the same thing. So let's see what's written on the screen. So the process of a method calling itself is called recursion. So here you can see the relation between the English word and the concept here. So basically a method calling itself, okay, again and again is called the recursion. The method that calls itself is said to be recursive. Okay, recursion if used properly can be a great tool, else it can be quite a headache, the infinite loop problem. Okay, so uh, any one of you, if you have learned any other programming language, so I am sure that you are familiar with the concept of recursion, right? So in any of the programming languages, okay, recursion plays a very vital role. Okay, so this is a technique using which you can, you know, design methods that are very efficiently used. Okay, the length of the methods are decreased with increase in efficiency, but you have to be very careful that your loop terminates. Okay, just like in other loops, here also, since it is being repeated, you have to take care that while using the concept of recursion, that means while you are making the function or making the method call itself, there is a certain condition wherein it stops calling itself. Okay, if you don't do that, what happens is that the method continues calling itself for infinite amount of time. So what will happen? Obviously, your let's say program will continue running until and unless the resources are finished. Okay, so that's a very long time. So uh, in a nutshell, you can say your program can go on running for infinite amount of time, and you will not get any conclusive result. Okay, so that's what the headache can be while using recursion. Okay, so if you do it properly, it's a very, you know, effective tool or effective technique of in programming. Okay, so we'll demonstrate this recursion in Java using a very, common problem, that is the problem of factorial. Okay, so we'll try to find a factorial of a number, okay, using this concept of recursion. Again, you can do that without recursion as well. Okay, so what is a factorial? I hope everybody knows what a factorial is. So what is the basic factorial? So here you can see, so if I am trying to find a factorial of a number, say n, okay, so what would be factorial would be? It would be n multiplied by n minus 1 multiplied by n minus 2 multiplied up to, it will continue up to 3 to 1. Okay, so that means from the number it will go on decreasing up to the number 1. Okay, that's what factorial is. So if I have to say what is the factorial of 1, it is 1 itself. What is the factorial of 2? It is 2. What is the factorial of 3? It is 3 multiplied by 2, it is 6 multiplied by 1, 1, so it is 6. Okay, so in so on and so forth. This is how we find a factorial. Okay, so now let's come to the code. It's a very simple code. Again, you can, so here the approach I have taken is a object oriented approach. So I have created an object. So this particular problem you can do without, creating object also. Okay, so here the concept is that of an object. So we have basically created a class. Okay, the first class here you can see is called the factorial. Okay, so it's a user defined class, nothing special. It is not a let's say inbuilt class. Okay, so it's a user built class. It's a factorial, and there you can see there is no member variable. We have only one member method. The name of the method is fact. Okay, so its return type is int, and it accepts only one argument. It is called num, and its type is also int or integer. Okay, so what happens? The first condition it checks is what is the argument I'm taking, what is the number I'm taking. If the number is 1, then what I'll do, I'll simply return it. Okay, so I don't have to do anything, I'll just simply return it, and the job of the particular method is done. If the number is not 1, what I will call the method again. Okay, and whatever the result is returned, I'll multiply it with the number itself. So here you can see this is where my recursion works. Okay, so here you can see I have this method called fact. So, okay, so in this method itself, I'm again calling fact, but what I am doing is I am decreasing the parameter, I am decreasing the argument that I received by 1. Okay, so I told you about taking care of the condition where my calling of method ends. Okay, so here this is what I am doing. So since I will be decreasing it by 1, okay, and when I reach the value 1, I don't have to call it again, I'll just simply return it. Okay, so this is where, so here I am calling the method again, hence recursion, and here using this particular condition I am taking care that my method doesn't call itself infinite amount of time. Okay, so we'll take an example to understand that. Okay, so this is how my factorial logic works. Okay, so let's go to the main method. Okay, so yeah, so my main method is inside the class called recursion. Again, a user defined recursion class. Okay, the main method again, let's say I have an object of scanner class to read the input from the user. That means the user can give me a number, and my program will find the factorial of the particular number. Okay, then again, since I am using a object oriented concept, so I have just created an object of the factorial class. Using this particular object, I will be calling the fact method. Okay, so yeah, nothing there. So this is basically fa is basically an object of factorial class. Okay, then I have a two integers, both of two variables, both of integer type. Okay, and then I have this particular do while loop. Okay, so there's nothing much. It is not compulsion that you have to use a do while loop. I have done, or I have used this do while loop basically to give you a let's say user friendly menu. That means using this method, what you can do is you can find the factorial of n number of times. Okay, you can find call the function or call the method n number of times. Okay, so we'll see how that works. Okay, so let's see how the factorial is working. So yeah, here in this particular line you can see that I am asking for, let's say, the input from the user in this particular line. Let's say value equal to read is equal dot excuse me. Next in, I would be just taking the input as an integer, and here I am calling the method using the object fa. So this is where the magic happens. Okay, and then the next line is basically to repeat whether you want to find a new number or you want to exit. Okay, so that's what the program is. Okay, so I hope you have understood the program. So we'll run the program, but before running, let's take an example of our own and see if our theory holds valid or how actually this particular program is working. Okay, so what happens is that first, obviously, do because it's a do while loop, so at least for one number of time this loop will run, and I will come to this particular point, and this particular line will be displayed. Enter the number you want to find factorial of. Okay, let's say I take a small number. Okay, you can take a larger number also, but for the sake of convenience of computation, let's take a small number, and let's say I take the number 5. Okay, so in this next line, 5 is stored in the variable val, or basically for value. Okay, the next line, what I am doing is I am printing this particular line, and here I am passing the value to the code. Okay, to the method. So now what happens, let's just do a rough work here. Okay, I hope it's visible. So what happens now, okay, so let's comment it and we'll just try to see what's happening inside. Okay, so now what happens is that since the method is called, now what happens, so just let me write. So in fact, now fact is called. Okay, and what is passed, 5 is passed, so my num value here would be 5. So basically this is happening, right? Sorry, yeah, so this is what is happening right now, right? So what happens, obviously, since this is this is happening, so first condition is to check if the number is equal to 1. No, it's not equal to 1, it's 5. So what I will do, I will go to the next part. So what I have to do is return fact, return fact, return, what I have to do, I have to return fact. Since fact is again a call, so what I have to do is num minus 1. So num minus 1 would be 4, correct, multiplied by num. What is num here? 5. So multiplied by 5. Sorry, yeah. So this is what I have to return to the main method. Okay, since I am calling fact, so what I have to do is, so here again I am calling fact, but here now I am passing what? I am passing 4, correct? Okay, so again let's repeat the process. So what happens now? Is it equal to 1? So no, that won't be executed. The next line, else part, so this would be executed. Return, what I have to return? Fact. Now what is the num here? The num is 4, correct, in this particular iteration. Okay, just let me write it like this, okay, just for your convenience. Okay, num is equal to 5 now. Okay, so here num becomes 5 minus 1 equal to 4, so here my num becomes 4, correct. So again what I have to do? Fact num minus 1, so now my num is 4, so it would be 3, okay, multiplied by how much? Num, so it is 4, correct. So since again I am, so again let's call fact. Now what is passed to the fact? Now num is, what number is passed? The number passed is 3, so my value of num would be 3, correct. And just like that. So now what happens is that, again, is it equal to 2? Sorry, it is equal to 1? No. So again the same thing, again I have to just return fact minus 1. The fact minus 1 would be 2, correct. Okay, multiplied by, so what is the number? Number is 3, so again 3, right. Again since I am calling fact, so again in fact equal to 2 first, so I have skipped that part. So let's continue. So again the same process. In fact, now since 1 is not equal to 2, so it will be again num minus 1, so it's 1, right. Sorry, I have to return it. Yeah, return, what I have to return? Fact num minus 1 into num, so num value is 2 here, correct. So again since I am returning it, so let's continue. So now again I'll call it. This is what is happening actually here. Okay, so when I'm calling this particular, so what happens now? So if you check here, now I have to see this particular condition, correct. So if this is correct, so what I have to do? I have to just return it. So what I will return? Num itself. So num is 1 here, correct. So I'll substitute this and I will return here, I'll return 1. Okay, so now what I have to return to the next line? 2 into 1. So this will return to this particular point. So this is where I am calling using the value 2. So what is the return value here? 2 into 1, that is 2. So here it is 2. Okay, so this part is done. Okay, similarly 2 into 3 is 6, so here the return value would be 6, correct. So this part is done. Similarly this is returned here. So what is the return value? 6 4 is 24, so here what we returned is 24, correct. So this part is done. So what is the final value that gets returned to the main method? It is 24 into 5, that is 120. So this is the value that should be displayed on my screen. Okay, so this is a rough sketch of how my different type of different times my value is called using the recursion. Okay, so I hope that's clear. Okay, so this is what theoretically I have done. So let's see if that holds true with our demonstration. Okay, so let's run the code and check. Okay, so let's try to run this code now. Okay, let's go to our directory. Yeah, so here I am now. So our code was, name of the program was recursion, correct. So let's compile it. So we don't have any error, so let's run it. So it says enter the number you want to find the factorial of. So I think we discussed the number 5, so let's try to find the factorial number 5. So here you can see our theory holds correct. So my program returns me the number 120. Okay, so hopefully that's correct. So again it says press 1 to find a factorial number of any other number. So okay, so let's press 7. Sorry, yeah, so since I have pressed 7, so I just came out of the loop. So what happens if I have to keep the loop running? Just run it again. Okay, so let's say I want to find the factorial of 6. So press 1 to find a factorial of any other number. Press any other key to exit. So if I want to find a factorial of any other number again, so let's press 1. So again I come back to the same menu. So let's say I want to find the factorial of 12. So that's the number. You can verify whether the number is correct or not. Okay, so do you want to find any other number? If yes, again press 1 and again give the number you want to find factorial of. Okay, so if you're satisfied, you can just press any other integer number to exit. So what happens if you don't press any integer number in this do while loop? Let's check. Okay, so I'm just entering the number, let's say 11, so it gives me the result. Okay, and here to exit, let's say I am pressing any other number, let's say I'm pressing ET. So here you can see a list of errors or exceptions are displayed. So what happens basically, my program was expecting an integer number from the user for this particular variable, but you can see that what I passed here was a non-integer number, a string maybe. Okay, so that's why this particular error is thrown. Okay, so this we'll be discussing this concept in our future videos. Okay, so that's all we have in the discussion of recursion. So again, there are a lot of scenarios in the real world where you may need to use the concept of recursion in your program. So I encourage you to think of the situations and try to design programs, okay, using the concept of recursion to solve or to you know emulate this particular situations. Okay, so that's all for the video. Thank you.